Hello, beautiful world. It's me again. And this time with a good buddy, Sharon Eden, a wild elder and spiritual coach, psychotherapist, that kind of thing, with many, many, many years of experience behind you, right? And you're
Yeah.
also the author of a new book, which I was very privileged to write a review for. So maybe you
You,
just want to give us a quick, that's just a quick overview, an overview of
okay, so
yourself.
the book is Rediscovered,
Yeah.
aimed at midlife women who are floundering a bit, who think, is this it? Who just feel there's something more, but they don't know what that is, and introduces them to what I call down and dirty spirituality, which is
Fantastic.
right in front of your nose.
Yeah.
And that can turn your life around,
Yeah.
revitalize you.
You believe in transformation, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. And even a bit beyond that.
Yeah.
I've been going into what I call transcendence, and
Yeah.
we were just talking about the miraculous body and all of that kind of thing. So it's constantly evolving who we are and what we do. Because we were just talking before we put the recording on that, I watched psychology emerge mainstream in the 1970s, and then go into personal development and coaching profession in the 1990s and into the 2000s, and it got readapted into spirituality big time. And I think now it's coming into a whole new paradigm of play.
Mm.
And I'd say, I just want to read those two sentences that you wrote. That is like, I'm like, what?
Okay.
I have this moment. Okay, so you were just recovering, I think, from a relationship, right?
I was indeed from a
Yeah.
fling.
And what you said was you can move through a maelstrom and emerge on the other side, not just intact, but transformed. You can evolve into more of who you were designed to be, into more of your untapped magnificence. I'm with you there, rather than the woman you were conditioned to be. That
Yeah.
is spectacular. Do you want to give us some more insights into all that and how that's come through your own work over the years?
Well, I've been working on myself for over 40 years. So, it's evolving me, growing me. And that's why, Solera, when people talk about reincarnation, I say, I'm not going to talk about it because I've reincarnated so many times in this life. And that's what we're talking. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. We've transformed. We
yeah,
we grow, we evolve, and we connect with more and more of our potential.
yeah.
So the fling was absolutely gorgeous. And it was a seminal event in my life because I hadn't fancied a man for something like 20 years, and boom,
Wow.
this person came.
Yeah,
Um, and it was extraordinary.
fantastic.
I have to say that for a good year prior to this, I had been working on my own growth in terms of opening to love, because there was a lot of wounding for me around love or
Yeah.
not really love. And so a lot of work doing that. So clearly I was ready for it. And the universe said, here, Sharon, have that. And going, and the person seemed absolutely perfect for me, and so on and so forth. Uh, but of course, they weren't. um, and and it was all a bit shocking for me. I felt like I'd been given this wonderful gift after all these years, and then somebody just ripped it away from me.
Yeah.
And I had a choice, really. My heart was broken, but it wasn't just about this thing, that this was no longer. It was like all the previous wounds around having love taken away from me in different guises. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just, one to one relationship, it happens in lots of ways. Anyway, and so I was feeling the pain, and I just thought to myself, Sharon, you do not have to lose yourself in the pain. You
Yes.
just do not have to lose yourself in the pain.
Yeah.
And so I spoke to myself and, more or less said things like, sweetheart, I know that you're so wounded and in pain, and yeah, you want to cry. I can hold you and you can cry and all of that. And grown up me can get on with my life.
Yeah.
And it was over a period of a few days. I would feel myself sinking back into it and all the pain. And I would continue working with that part of my personality that carries the wounds of being unloved, rejected, abandoned, all those old things. And and that's what I'm talking about, that we can use these awful things that happen to us
Yeah.
if if we just realize that we are not our feelings.
Yeah.
We are not our feelings. We are more than our feelings.
Yeah.
And when we bring in compassion for ourselves, for, not just that stupid man, fancy turning away from somebody as gorgeous as me.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely. He clearly wasn't the one, although there are potentially millions of ones out there.
Yeah.
He clearly wasn't the man for me. He couldn't meet me if he was
Yeah.
turning away from me. Uh,
Fantastic.
so,
Good for
uh,
you.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
remember my sister many moons ago with something that happened to her. And it was a man. And she said, all I do is say, move over. Next one.
I like
I
your
like
sister. But you know,
that.
I've been married 3 times, and this last time for 28 years. It's working now.
Wonderful.
But I also lived with a guy for 5 years. And so in the beginning, it was quite traumatic and
Yeah.
quite losing myself. But, you know, in hindsight, now looking back over that lifetime, I really believe that everything that happens to us has gems of huge potential
Oh,
in it.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that if we the sooner we can discover what that is and move towards it, the sooner it all kind of goes all right in us and the future goes all right in us because we turn towards that
Absolutely.
potential.
Absolutely. Because I, I'm going a bit wordless because some of what the gem was for me in all of that was wordless,
Yeah.
but some of it made me realize what a stupendous being and woman I
Oh,
am.
absolutely.
Even more so, it was like, hey, you're
Yeah.
freaking amazing.
I did the same thing. My my husband about a year ago, I said to him, "What would you do if I died? Like, you know, what would your plan be?" He said, "Oh, I'd get married again. It's really great being married." I said, "Good luck." Good luck finding another me. So just like
Exactly.
you know, I don't have any upset or distress about it. If he does, I'm happy for him. But, you know,
Sure.
I was like, but look what you've got kind of thing.
And we do live in a patriarchal culture,
Yeah.
and patriarchy rules the world, not okay.
Well, it's trying to, and we're doing other things about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've got a whole theory about what's going on now. It's
Yeah.
going to raise loads of people
Oh,
who
yeah.
are not as feisty as us about stuff. It's
Yeah.
so extreme. They're
Yeah.
going to go,
But you
hang on
know,
a
I
minute.
do believe it's tipping as well because the levels at which people like you and I and many others that I know, many around the world, I see loads of it now,
Absolutely.
are raising our conscious awareness, are raising our vibrations, are sourcing our lives in a different version or paradigm of reality in which we're super connected, in which we are super creative,
Yeah.
genius, magnificence, loving ourselves, all of it. And it's such a different version of reality. And it's surging to the fore at the same time that this is going like
Yeah,
that.
it is. And
Yeah.
yeah, I believe that too.
Yeah.
And that many people will wake up
Yeah.
because of the extremes that are
That's
yet
probably
to
true.
come, actually. We're only just getting a taste of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so,
I'm one of the things that we're at work on in my memoration of maestros groups is we're working on being sources of global reality.
yeah,
And how you can hold that with grace, with love, with creation, with sourceness, a whole new version of leadership is coming through. It's collaborative,
absolutely.
it's connected with all the other life forms. And that I just did a video yesterday on the breakthrough of intelligence, genius, and mastery, which is,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, so we're right and as much as this is all going on, this is going on. It's so many breakthroughs of extraordinary nature. And I think transformation in what I would call transcendence is one of those. And
absolutely. Because of what I went through, I do feel there has been a transcending of my being and my
yes,
energy.
yeah,
And I'll tell you the funny thing as well. With hindsight, right, I saw red flags about this man. I
wow,
saw them and I noted them and I went, this is interesting. This is interesting.
yeah,
So it's almost like the universe sent him to me for this learning
yeah.
about myself
And this
and about
elevation of you into the next level of you as well.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, I'm far more mischievous. There's a level of twinkle about me,
I love
which is
that. I love that about
certainly
you. I love that you call yourself the wild elder because I think we do get wilder as we
we
go. And some
do.
people have had it all their lives. I didn't. I was pretty normal through most of my adult life. And
Yeah.
then just like unleashed and become quite, I would say super creative, but other people might say wild woman, like, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. But of course, the real meaning of wild is undomesticated,
Oh, yeah,
untamed.
yeah,
You know, you see in the dictionary savage or whatever,
yeah.
but it's undomesticated and untamed.
Yeah.
It's
And
us
I would
in
say
every,
unleashed in
yes,
what's inside of it. Because we have inside of us this incredible genius, mastery, caring, visions, passions, it's all inside of us. And when people close it up, that's missing, and that vitality is missing, that
exactly.
creativity is missing. And so it is about getting that open. So, yeah,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
it feels like I've gone through another portal.
yeah,
That's how it feels.
yeah.
Um,
I get that. Yeah,
and I think I'm sure I've done it before in my life, the reiterations of myself. But
yeah.
this is the first time I really feel I've gone through a portal.
Yeah, yeah, I completely understand what that is. I'll bet most people listening would understand what that is.
Yeah,
It's like you're at this level, and then a door opens, and you go to this level, and then another door opens,
exactly.
and you go to this level. But it's here. It's not
Yes.
there. It's here.
Here on earth.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
embodies in you. Gives you vitality. It gives you
Yeah.
ideas and creativity. And speaking of creativity, you just wrote your book.
Well, and writing the book, I think, was part of it.
Yeah,
The whole journey of offering this to other women,
yeah.
it was like, I think it's like I was tuning in. Universe, I'm ready.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, it's written as I speak. It's not stuff full of theory or whatever, but it introduces you to the idea of what I call down and dirty spirituality, which is right in front of your nose. I talk about you having a wild soul. The
Oh, I
spark
like
of the
that.
divine is your soul.
Yeah.
And I talk about well, in the book, I don't talk about it, but actually, my technique of intrapsychic alignment. So you go within, you align with your wild soul, which
Yeah.
carries your original design, who you
Yeah.
were meant to be, rather
Nicely
than who
said.
you were trained to be.
Yeah.
And so you release potential, but also at the same time, most people's personality is like an orchestra warming up, that cacophony of sound that goes on. And so that, if you like, your wild soul has a spark of itself at the level of your personality, which can be your conductor.
Yeah.
So instead of being at the mercy of whatever bit of your personality wants to be around at the time, you can learn to know yourself so well
Yeah.
that you become the conductor of the many different parts. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a place in the center. Imagine being able to stand on the podium and say, okay, I'm giving a speech now. Personality part that's the great speaker, step forward, or I'm having an argument now. Okay, personality part that carries compassion and the one that carries logic, come to the fore, please.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm making it sound as if you do that. You don't really,
Yeah.
but it becomes second nature to
Yes,
you.
it does. Yeah. It's that alignment. I love you call it the wild soul. That's a beautiful, it is what's in us is so unique, so magnificent, so incredible, brilliant, genius, creative, all of that. And it unleashes a vitality in us,
Yeah,
I think, as well, and an alignment and a flow that
yeah,
lets us be healthier, lets us be more dynamic in life, I think, whatever
yeah,
that looks like for ourselves. Some people it'd be gardening, and some people it'd be running a
yeah,
company, and it's very, very different. But yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's just joy.
yeah. And have you noticed, because you have a good practice going, a coach psychotherapy practice, and because I've noticed in the last probably year and a half, maybe, uh, a real shift in the dynamics of the interest and curiosity of people and the arriving at this alignment in themselves. So whatever paths they've taken,
Yeah,
I see more and more and more of it with just maybe little glitches here and there, but it's not so blah. It's more like, oh, I just need to sort this and then I'm back on track again, you know? Do you see that as
oh,
well?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I specialize in six session work. A long time ago, I decided people were far more resourceful than having to be in, for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And of course, people do come back. Some people come back over time, but that the transformation that can happen, and people are so resourceful and able. You've only got to give them the tools, and I have some very quirky tools, of course, but give them the tools, teach them the tools,
Yeah.
and they're off. They
Fantastic.
begin.
Yeah.
And in my work, I'm teaching people how to do the work for themselves.
Fantastic. Bravo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
It's
that's amazing.
wonderful for my integrity, but lousy for my cash flow. But hey.
But I'm a little bit the same way. But I have a trust in, I guess, the universe. You could say that way.
Absolutely.
Whatever that is that's lined up with me and I'm lined up with it. And every month for 25 years,
Yes,
everything's taken care of.
absolutely.
It's like there's never been a crisis, never lost a home or anything like that. Then sometimes it's a little close to the wire, but then right at the end, poof, there it is,
I know.
But I think, one of the things I love about you is that your realness, your authenticity, your genuine sharing from who you are. I'm like that too. It's like you get what you get. But I think that's more and more people are looking for that because I've been trying different social media platforms out just for fun. And I browse through and I think, oh, Lordy, there's so much marketing, there's so much
Oh,
sales, there's so much
I know.
said so people can hear it as opposed to just genuinely
Absolutely.
being
And
it.
there's so much manufactured.
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly. Yeah,
know, I wrote a post about it. Um, it's funny. I was working with a client today actually about this kind of thing, about being who she really is
yeah,
on social media.
yeah,
And I said, you will stand out from the crowd
yeah,
because
exactly.
it's so beige.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And such low level. But I scanned through looking for things, and but after a while I realized, oh, this is not. It's not dropping my vibration because I'm very consciously aware of where I'm
Yeah,
perceiving and not judging and stuff. So I can be really good
sure.
with that. But I can feel it's like,
You can.
it's like this, and I
You,
want, like, I
yeah,
want
yeah,
to read
yeah.
stuff that,
Well,
like,
expansive
yeah,
and yeah, and of course there are some people that, but I agree with you. You can feel the level of vibration.
yeah,
And I scroll a lot. I scroll. There's certain people who I stop. You're one of them, of
yeah.
course.
You're one of them for me too.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I read. Um, but I actually said to this client today, what you've got to get is if you imagine human beings as different species of bee, what you are is one of the special species. There's a lot of yellow and black, right? And then you get orange and green and, whatever.
yeah,
And if you shine, you hold the possibility for other bees to go, I fancy being turquoise and green.
yes, and pink.
Yes, that's right. Or blue or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you know, it brings up in me because this has been sitting in the back of my mind for a little while now, but you're about empowering women, right?
Yeah.
So, and I grew up in the 50s, 60s, and 70s,
Yeah.
1950s, 60s, and 70s. But I was always kind of a bold, bit of a girl. Although it did get a little hard by times. But back then, women really didn't have many rights at all. And it was in
Yeah,
the late 60s and 70s with the hippie movement that
that's right.
this equality emerged. And there's an onslaught if you watch some things in the world today about anyone being different, whether it's women, whether it's race, whether it's color, whether it's trans, whether it's whatever it is. And if I talk just about women for a minute, I think that I don't think you can achieve that level of knowing in yourself of who you are and equality. It can't be taken from you. No matter who does what, it's in you then, and it can't be taken away, no matter what it looks like. And I just think that the more that it tries to happen in the world, the more we rise, the more we shine, the
Yeah.
more we radiate, the more we transcend into a different power, a creative power for good, you know? Do you feel
I
that as well?
absolutely. You see, I don't think that the hippie period and all that was that liberating, to be
It may
honest.
not have been.
No, because the patriarchy was still in charge. Free love, yeah, great. Right? Who ended up with the babies, and all of that.
I get that.
And for example, I think it was 1973 in this country that a woman was allowed to have her own bank account.
Yeah, it was around that. I grew up in Canada, so it was around
Yeah,
that
yeah.
time too. I
It
remember because I graduated university in 71, I think it was, and
yeah.
I was married, my first disastrous marriage at that time. can laugh about it now. But I graduated and got to be a receptionist at the YMCA for $50 a week. And my husband graduated and got a huge paying salary to be a parole officer in one of the prisons in Canada. Like what, just like
Exactly.
that. It was so radically different. It was really interesting. But I
I,
think for me, even going through all that, there's loads of stories about what happened, but I think it lit a fire in me. No, and I never was fight for our rights kind of person. I was like, let's go. Let's do
yeah,
it. Let's,
little dynamo you are.
yeah, that's how it feels to me. I don't go and
Yeah,
fight against, I go and fight for a creation of something,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I get
and
that.
I think people like you and I, and many like us, women and others of all
There's
ilks.
loads, there's
Yeah,
loads and loads.
it
And I
is
mean, there's some women on LinkedIn who are doing it in different ways. And so if you haven't come across Dorothy Doughton, she's in the business world, have a look at her. She's
fantastic.
doing it in a different way.
Fantastic. I love it. I do, and we all will do it uniquely. You know, it's
Yes,
one of the things we were raised in an education system that made us all the same or tried to make us all the same. And
absolutely.
I just don't think we are all the same. I think the magnificent, unique difference of us
Yeah,
is what makes us special and spectacular. Every single person and every life
absolutely.
form.
Every life form. Do
Yeah.
you know, I talk about us all having a mission on Earth,
Yeah.
which the business world would call purpose, but
Yeah.
anyway, we all have a mission on Earth.
Yeah.
And I always say it's a theme, not a thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
10,000 people might have the same mission,
Yeah.
but actually, how they express that mission, what they do with it, will
Absolutely.
be unique to them.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with you on that.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
and it's so exciting.
It is. And do you know one of the things I found too? A lot of people think, oh, well, I was born with this mission and that's it. I have it for my whole life. But what's happening is sometimes we're fulfilling our role in that mission and we're making up whole new ones. You know, they're
Absolutely.
usually connected in some way, but I find I can go this, and put
Well,
it in a
that's
great big
what I
context.
mean about it's a theme.
Yeah,
And of course, why stick with one thing in your life?
yeah,
Express it this way and that way and that way. Why
yeah.
not?
And it's funny because most people would say, and I would say it about myself, that I can't hold together a branding of myself.
You mean?
It's like I think okay, I've got it. Here, it'll be this. And then 2 weeks later, oh, it's changed again. And I sometimes envy people who can consistently,
Well,
whatever.
that, that's why I love the Wild Elder because
Yeah,
I can do anything under that
that's right.
heading
Yeah.
because I am the Wild Elder and how I choose to manifest it will change, emerge, grow.
Yeah.
And but I'll tell you something really funny about what we're talking. I got serious, last year writing the book and everything, and I thought, look, it's really time I learn how to do marketing and sales. I want the message of my book
Yeah.
to be worldwide, so I need to know this stuff. And so spent a lot of money doing things. And, they're wonderful people and they've made successes and all the rest. I suddenly realized, oh, to hell with that.
Yeah.
It's not my way.
Everybody I know has said the same thing. They go and do like make a million or be successful or be known and then they come back to me and say, it just didn't align with me. I'm like that. I can't just market, sell, sell, sell. I can't.
No, no.
It's not anything wrong with me. It's like and I believe that if I'm right for people, they will know it.
Yes.
I don't have to, I wouldn't, in fact, I convince people out of it sometimes because I may not be. I had somebody yesterday said, could you do this with my sibling or my daughter? And I said, I think I'm too out there for that person, like might want to start
Exactly.
gentler than me, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah,
And I want everybody listening to know that these systems that people offer you, they do work for some people.
yeah,
They do. I can think of two women I know that have gone through the program I was going through and highly successful materialistically,
yeah,
highly successful.
yeah.
But when I think back, I was kind of kicking at the establishment when I was a teenager, and
Yeah.
how I suddenly thought I could slot in nicely.
That's so funny because that's exactly me too. I just don't slot in nicely. And I'm beginning to think that put a video up yesterday and I said, if you want to surf the edge of newness here, if you don't want to do that, don't watch this because it's
Absolutely.
swinging way out there, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's why it's so important for people to on social media to really be who they are. I've
yeah.
got I keep little post-its around me, things. And this post-it here says, be happy to repel to attract,
Yes, I
right?
get that. Yeah,
Because we're not going to suit everyone.
that's
But if
right.
we
Yeah,
pretend we're something else or try to fit in a box
yeah,
that's too tight for us,
yeah.
well, we can't do the work we were meant to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, I would say, I'll ask you what yours is too, but mine is surfing the edge of newness, like bringing in breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough that's so wildly out there that it
Yeah.
it elevates and evolves us in rapid fire succession kind of thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes that's too much for people, but
Yes, of course.
there are others who go, yes,
Yeah.
let's go, and that's what I love. So yeah, how about for you?
Excellent.
What's yours?
So my mission on earth, I discovered it over 40 years ago when I trained for 7 years to be a psychotherapist, and it was a spiritual psychology. So we did this stuff. And when I got it, I thought, what the bejeebers is that? So it is the birthing of humanity for the birthing of humanity.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
Wow,
thank you. Thank you hearing that.
I love
And
it.
And to begin with, I thought, what does that mean? And I realized it was for me to birth humanity in me
Yeah,
constantly throughout my life, evolve, that enabling me to be more and more able to help other human beings do
yeah,
that too.
yeah. See, I think we're elevating and evolving into something quite new that I think the human the human is a quite a limited construct as a framework for
Yeah,
people to, you drive for success, you drive for money and materialism, you individual, you're looking to heal the past, it's all there's a framework around it.
yeah,
We use 10% of our brains, you have to go to a doctor to take care of your body. Those are all frameworks that we live within. And I think there's a whole new like possibility of who and what we are with having each of us unique superpowers and genius that's
yeah.
extraordinary and how we can interconnect with other species and other intelligences and the earth and the
Oh,
universe, and
absolutely.
it's
And
incredible.
there are things that are going on. For example, I belong to a business network. It's not your normal kind of network, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful, all these people. And I was talking with one of the guys who'd gone to I think it was the Amazon. Is it the Amazon? Oh, I can't remember. Oh, no, Brazil. Brazil. Well, that is the Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brazil. And he'd been around with this person, this man, who diagnoses and operates just using his hands,
Oh yeah, yeah,
right? And it and he said he was there, he witnessed it.
yeah,
You know, he witnessed it happening
yeah,
and he couldn't believe his eyes.
yeah,
And he said, you know, he gets other people to kind of patch them up after he's done what he's done. But it's like, what?
yeah. I
You
know.
know, to our limited mind, it goes, no, surely not.
Yeah,
But who knows? There's anything is possible.
yeah. And that's, I think we each have a calling to explore some of those pathways
Mm.
into what we think is miraculous, you know?
I,
And it's
absolutely.
part of who we are and part of the mission, as you call it, I would say greater purpose and,
Yeah,
why we're here on earth and all of it. And, one
absolutely.
of the things I've discovered as well is the more I live into something that's not about myself, like I'm living it, so I'm good in here, but
Yeah,
the more I live into making my mark, my legacy of what I'm here to bring to the world, the more fulfilled I am, the more
yeah,
joyful I am. And people would think, oh, you take on the world, it gets harder and heavier. It doesn't. It's the exact opposite. It's so joyful. It's so collaborative. It's so connected with all life. And you just
absolutely.
grow and grow and learn and co-create. And it's such a beautiful thing.
It's awesome. I mean, I'm older than you, but we're in
No,
the,
you're not.
I am.
How old are you?
I'm 76.
Oh, well, only by 1 year.
Oh, right. So we are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're okay. So I don't know about you, but when people say to me, don't you want to retire? Why would I want to
What on
retire?
earth is that? Like, I don't want to do nothing. No, thank you. I'm having a ball. I like getting up and coming to
Absolutely.
my computer and writing and
Oh,
creating and engaging with people and
absolutely.
coaching and running new things and, all that kind of stuff.
And see, and I have an excitement, and I'm sure you have.
I do. Yeah.
Not just for now, but it's like I think, what will I get up to when I'm 80?
I know. Me too. Yeah, and I will say, 'cause I'm perfectly healthy, like,
Yeah,
a little bit of eye stuff, but,
yeah.
what the heck, that's not a big deal. I'd go for, if it is, turns out it's cataracts and I have cataract operation, that's not a big deal to me. That's
Okay.
okay. But I'm healthy, I'm full of vitality, I'm full
Yeah.
of
I think
ideas.
I think it's vitality
Yeah,
is the absolute thing. It's life force. It's our divine given energy.
yeah.
And and really, in a way, what I think we're doing is we're having grown-up playtime.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It does actually. It's so exciting to do this with others.
Yes.
Like just to have that level of great conversation, to co-create and watch this genius and this genius and this genius and merge together and form something more extraordinary than any
I
one
know.
of us could have done. That to me is just
I know.
amazing.
And realities, I mean, I love some of the stuff you put out because, the innovation is happening all over the world.
Oh
These
gosh, yeah,
great things are happening.
yeah,
And the media ought to talk more about. There are people all over the world
yeah.
doing amazing projects and things
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
and it fills me with excitement for humanity.
yeah. I agree completely. You're seeing the unleashing innovation has really quite unleashed in the last 2 years. I would say maybe during and post-COVID.
Yes,
That before that it was all being stifled. I think it was there, but probably the big companies were trying not to because it would take their money away. But I think once COVID broke us through into something, that whole 2 year period. I think that innovation has just gone boom, boom, boom. It's like
Yeah.
freed up. And I was saying on a somewhere yesterday, I think I was on a call, and I was saying how it's not about money even necessarily. Like I see all these wonderful videos of four teenage girls who design something in Africa to have their whole community have energy and light. Or a boy builds a wind turbine that's a breakthrough in wind type turbineness in Africa that feeds
Yeah.
fuels the whole community. And there's many others. There's a
I know.
14-year-old in India who came up with a whole new concept. I can't even remember what it was. And somebody funded him and he just like brought a whole new thing into the world. And you're seeing it's not just the kids either, but it
No.
is unleashing. I'm seeing it all the time now.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It, for me, that like climate change, for example, some people go, oh God, we're all gonna be, but for me, it's unleashed ingenuity. People are
yeah,
going, okay, then species in danger of dying out. The
yeah,
work people are doing to, you
yeah.
know, protect, and it's so. Well, I'm touching my heart. It's
Yeah.
so heartening. It's so
It is,
heartful.
isn't it? It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's
And
like,
one of the things that we did in our Maestros group is in the last, I think, 2 years, maybe three, maybe 2.5, we unleashed the miraculousness that exists in nature. So it
oh,
always has been there. It's embedded in it, and you would see some of it. But what we did was like zhuzh it up. And what
I
we
love
saw,
that.
we kind of said, go, be here,
Oh,
you know,
yes,
like,
go with my
yeah,
blessing.
that's right. And what we saw, not just here in the UK, but friends in Australia saw it, friends in New Zealand, some in the US saw it. The green got greener, a
Mm.
lot greener, like almost neon super green. And then the flowers, instead of being this high, were this high. And then this past summer, here in Somerset in the UK, we had fields and fields and fields that went yellow with radiant dandelions. The whole
Wow,
field was yellow. Not just,
wow,
sometimes you'd see a smattering of them down the side of the road.
yeah.
I've never, though I've been here 28 years, even in my time in Canada, never seen fields of dandelions before. They were covered in yellow dandelions. And each dandelion was like a radiant sun. Like they weren't this little droopy, weedy things. You know, they were like, here I am. And I thought, I think this worked. You know, like there's
Sure.
something about what's embedded in nature that is miraculous. The same as what's embedded in our
Yeah.
bodies
Yeah.
is miraculous. And we kind of have to give it alignment to that and let
Mm,
that do its thing as well.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Um, but I also want to, I have several conditions, actually, health conditions, right? So, uh, blood pressure, cholesterol. I had a bit back injury, so I have herniated disc that plays up occasionally,
Wow.
that kind of thing. Um, and so for people out there who might be watching that think, oh, well, I can't do that because I've got this or that or
Yeah.
whatever, I just want to say it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, you don't occur like that. You occur
No.
vital and strong and in the
Well, I
world.
am vital and strong.
Yeah,
It's just, the mechanics of my body.
yeah,
There's some issues. But my goodness, when you have a problem with your plumbing, when there's issues, you can get a plumber in who can tweak it a bit and sort it.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so for people who might be listening who think, well, I'm not as physically, forget it.
yeah.
Forget
Because
it. It's
what
your life force
it is,
that
yes,
counts.
it is. And I think that it does equate to embodying your wild soul, your being,
Yeah.
or whatever term we put on it. Um, but also it's the love of life. There's
Yeah.
something about when you choose to love life. And I know
Oh,
that can
yeah.
be challenging for some people because
Yeah.
life's smacking them in the face a bit. Well, life's not doing it, the circumstances doing it.
Life has smacked me in the face. I can't tell you. If you read my book, you will find out because I use my life as illustration for the
Yeah,
point. So,
yeah.
from day one, I was smacked all over the place
But
in
that
the
I think
face.
that's quite that, most of the people I know who are like you, wild elder, rebels, creators,
Yeah.
geniuses, they didn't have it easy early on.
Oh.
And I think it's because they didn't fit in a thing that was trying to get us to fit. And I think the survival of the thrival of all of you like that was really important
Mm.
for the becoming of us all, you know?
I think so. And I look back on everything.
Mm.
Even now at this age, I look back on last week and definitely the fling with the man as apprenticeship.
Oh,
It's
interesting. Yeah.
it's apprenticeship. And wherever and whatever I'm doing now is apprenticeship for what I'll be manifesting next year or the
Yeah.
year after or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, that's the miracle of life.
It is,
That
isn't it? Yeah.
if you grab it by its proverbials, it's a growthful and a joyful one.
Yeah. Do you know that reminds me because about 3 months, 4 months ago, I only ever had one regret in my life. I've been fairly blessed in my life. And that was my first marriage. It wasn't good.
Oh, bless you. Yeah,
And no matter what else I did in life, I held that, I would always say that was not good. I wish it hadn't happened. And
yeah.
so about 4 months, 4 months ago, I sat myself down and said, I don't want to carry any regrets in my life. Let me look at what does this mean here? What about that? And I realized that if I hadn't married him, if I hadn't had the breakup, if I hadn't gone on a path, if I hadn't met my second husband who was wonderful, if I hadn't gone on that path, then divorced, then gone in this, I would not be who I am today. Every step was perfectly leading me to who I am. And I know it raises the question of, well, is it all destined? I don't think it was destined quite. I don't think so. But it wasn't quite, I was making choices all the way along either.
No, I know.
Sometimes I felt like,
Thank you.
wow,
Did I really have to do that?
it was like, wow, what's
Yeah.
this now, you know? Um, but I realized, looking back from now our ages, and I look at it and I think perfection.
Yeah,
Just absolute perfection because
absolutely.
it made this, and I'm so fulfilled. I'm so blessed. I'm so in love with life. And yeah, if and when I go over, assuming that I do,
Yes.
because I think we're becoming very ageless now,
I,
like we're
I
getting,
think, yeah,
and if and when I go over, there will be no regrets. It will be like, holy jumping. That was fabulous. And
yeah.
I feel completely elevated and evolved from this lifetime.
Well, do you know, it's really funny because I have been thinking about getting older, of course, and I intend to be at least 110 with red hair and my lippy on when I pass. Um,
Hallelujah.
yeah. But of course, I was thinking about my children because, that I know they will miss me. And I know if I'm compos mentans, I'm going to say, I've had a gas.
Yes,
With
exactly.
all the shit in it as well, I've had a wonderful life.
Yeah,
And, they are then the light bearers.
yeah, yeah,
They're already light bearers in their
yeah.
own way.
And of
But
course, that brings us to really, I know a lot of people live in grief about loss in their lives and people have
yeah,
gone. And I mean, when my dad died in 1984, I think it was the first time ever I could feel energy. I could
yeah,
feel him with me. and it totally put me on a different path.
Yeah,
I was on this path and it went boom like that. It opened me
absolutely.
up to amazing things. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. Like, wow, that was extraordinary. Like,
Yeah.
and so there's just this ease in me now about what death is. And it's just the next leap on the journey and the adventure, the creation into whatever we become next. And I
Uh,
happen to think that I might just come right back.
oh, really? Like
Yeah.
a boomerang,
Yeah.
boom,
I
back
don't
at.
know. Like I used to think, oh, I'll go soar around the universe. Now I think, oh no, I'll just come right back because I need to have a, I
And
want to
I'll
see how it all plays
do
out.
do another tour of duty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. Yeah,
wonderful. Well,
yeah,
I have no idea, absolutely no idea.
yeah,
Who knows? Who
yeah.
knows?
I get that. Well, I suppose that leads us to kind of wrapping up. It's been so wonderful talking with you like this. I absolutely
Thank
love it.
you.
It's
Thank
brilliant.
you, Laura.
And tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, right. Okay. So you can get my book on Amazon. Just put Sharon Eden in and you'll find it.
Yeah.
You can get in touch with me on LinkedIn. I'm Sharon Eden, the Wild Elder. And my website is very easy to remember because it's thewildelder.com.
Oh,
And
very
I'd
nice.
love to hear from you if you want to get in touch. And
Yay.
maybe we'll riff as Laura and I've done, which is wonderful. I've had such a great time. Thank
Oh,
you.
me too. Yeah, I just love talking like that. It's just so
Yeah,
fabulous. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a guest with me.
thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Feel free to get in touch with Sharon and or me anytime that you feel called to. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.